How's it going, everybody? And I'm here with Carlos Hernandez.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, I was in a band once upon a time. We were trying to figure this out as far as like the longevity, as far as like when we actually was the last show and when was the last time we actually played anything together. And we honestly don't remember.
Can't remember.
That's how long ago it was. So for those that don't know, I do have two podcasts, Pacheco Podcast, and of course the new one is In View Media. Now, when it comes to Pacheco Podcast, I will be bringing in friends and, of course, other people that have inspired me along the way as far as like what I've done in the past and, of course, current things that I've been doing right now as far as like with photography and videography, or if not, my editing. So having that said, Carlos Hernandez, would you like to introduce yourself?
All right. My name is Carlos Hernandez. I played music for a long time. As a drummer, yes, once upon a time, like Irv said. And then after that, let's see, I became an AV production manager. I did audio engineering for a couple years, and then that was a hustle, being contracted, and I just needed steady money. And so a good friend of mine told me about a position, and I took it. So traveling a lot. So it's my first office job.
Nice.
That wasn't crazy to start, but it's been fun. Yeah, it's been
I do remember you actually working for the AV. You were doing like stuff with the Playhouse.
Yeah, I worked at the Palmdale Playhouse.
And I think you were doing a couple shows at the Lancaster one. I forgot the venue on the Palmdale Boulevard or Lancaster Boulevard. My bad. I forgot what.
Oh, I helped out. I helped out someone out there, but I was employed at the Palmdale Playhouse. That was fun. Yeah, I was running sound there for orchestras and plays and whatever came through, and that was a good one, actually. Yeah.
Cool. If you could kind of give us a brief little biography as far as like how we met, and of course maybe just a little brief bio on how you actually started with music and what inspired you, and then from there we kind of get going from this conversation.
Right. So let's see. It all started when I was a kid, maybe around 12, I think. My brother started learning drums. It was an old drum set my dad got from some church. Oh, no, some lady was selling it, I think. He bought it. My brother learned it. My dad told him to teach me how to play, and my brother said, fine. So first song I learned was Californication, Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then he joined military, so I started teaching myself. So it was an ear taught, and I kept playing since then. And let's see. After that, I think I was talking to Maritza,
my cousin.
your cousin. She told me you were looking for a drummer for one of your bands. And I was like, cool, I'm down.
And currently you were in high school or about to graduate?
In high school, that was maybe junior year. Okay. I think. Yeah, I want to say it was around junior year in high school. And I got my cheap little drum set, and I was like, let's go. Or I think you had a drum set there.
Yeah, Jimmy's house. Correct.
Yeah. So I just jumped in, probably just grabbed my sticks, and then we played some Spanish covers.
Yeah, we're gonna do college. I think we're gonna do something for the college. Yeah, the Cinco de Mayo college. Or was it for the high school?
For the high school.
Was it?
For the high school first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
After that was after.
Okay.
we did the college after.
Yeah, good
eventually.
Stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that was interesting. Played a lot of more Spanish music than I ever had, but that's when I met you, Jimmy, Chris, and Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos.
Carlos is singing. That's when we met, and then we vibed, man.
Yeah,
we vibed as soon as we started playing.
Yeah. How old were you?
How old are you in junior?
I graduated already. I was already graduated. I don't know.
In junior high. And in your junior year, how old are you? I think I was maybe like 17, I'll say.
17 or 16?
16. I was a year older than all my other friends, though.
Okay, gotcha.
I think I was 17.
Okay.
So still young.
All right.
But that's when we met. It just kept going from there. And got rid of the singer.
We started getting rid of everybody.
We started one by one. And then we were like, just start our own thing. We left that whole Spanish cover thing aside.
Yeah.
And we started Out of Line. Were we something before that?
No. It was right away. It started with Out of Line.
Maybe we're messing with other names.
No, we were doing. Well, my whole idea was when we were doing cover music was that I had stopped prior to when you came in to playing in bands, like I literally just was focusing on school and all that stuff. So when you came in, it was more of a transition as far as like, okay, I was studying in college, I was really focused, but also at the time I had gone through a breakup where, you know how that goes, you know, you get more motivated.
Yeah.
You get motivated to actually do
Gotcha.
stuff right after. And that was
one.
where like, I'm like, okay, let me reconnect with my friends which Jimmy, Chris, and then Carlos, friends from high school. And before you came in, we had our drummer Eddie, which was Jimmy's neighbor, and we were all high school friends, and or if not, like way like since like we were like 11 or 12. So we kind of all grew up with each other. But of course, he was distracted from his thing, and then that's where we're like, we need a drummer. And I was at the level of like, we need to get it going because I need to get my head focused and all that good stuff.
Yep.
And of course, you came in because of my cousin, and that's where we kind of started noticing like, okay, we all kind of have the same sense of humor. We all kind of like don't take anything too seriously. So of course, we're just guys and, you know, just chilling. Little by little, people started getting distracted themselves. That's where, you know, the transition of them having to go, as far as like Carlos was doing his solo act, and then Chris, I think Chris stuck around a while.
Stuck around, yeah.
Jimmy got, you know, he was, and this is Jimmy, I'm sorry, but he got distracted too. And it's always a girl too. It's always the girls that kind of come in, especially
young.
when that, especially in that age. He got distracted, and he'll come on the podcast and he'll speak about that, you know, because we've been chilling now.
Gotta invite him in.
We've been chilling.
Yeah.
So he got distracted, kind of had to leave. From there, it was just me, you, Chris. No, it was just me, you, Chris, and then we started practicing at your house because Jimmy wasn't no longer around as much, so we couldn't really use his house. You were more of like, okay, let's practice at my house. My parents don't care. I'm like, cool. Yep. From there, we started looking for singers, and of course, the whole cover thing was just to get it going. That was my idea.
You always thought with covers.
Yeah, that was the idea for me. And
play with each other first.
Yeah, and from there we found Layla, or she was in one of my music classes at the time at the college.
No, we found Alex first.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness, name dropping.
Yes.
Name dropping. We kind of went through a whole amount of like, okay, we needed singers and trying out people, and then it just didn't work out. And then Layla came in. So, you know, once again, distractions happen. People needed to go in their own path. And from there, we added your cousin, which is Sam. He came in, and I think he started with guitar.
Came in with guitar.
And then...
because we needed rhythm.
Yeah, we needed a rhythm guitar, and he was already living at your house currently, so we kind of just brought him in. From there, Chris got distracted, and then I think around that time, he kind of started drifting away too, because he wanted to leave the AV, and he went to the Valley, and same thing happened to Layla
too.
Where she was in her own thing, and she wanted to do her own thing somewhere else, and that's where
the commute was bad.
You know, that's where we started to notice, like, okay, the commitment for the band was it's either 100% or it's kind of not where we wanted to go as far as like timeline wise, and especially with me. I'm more of a, okay, if we're doing something, we kind of have to do it with a reason, purpose, and of course solutions to actually get somewhere. Especially where I was at the time, where I literally had nothing to own. Like my guitar case was like, I don't know, it was like plastic. I don't know what it was. Like it was always ripping apart. Like it was
barely
just,
holding on.
Yeah, I had one pair of strings, nothing. And then we then started asking if we were gonna stay with the same band name, which was Out of Line. That's when Layla left, and then from there we started doing Craigslist ads, and then that's where we started getting, you know, the whole American Idol kind of tryouts, you know, the tryouts that came in through, as far as like, okay, we just tried a bunch of people, and then Claren came in, and there you go, we started Distant Skies. But
Distant Skies,
which was a good experience as far as like from what I remember. Like I don't have anything negative that I could say that I could look back on and like, oh, I wish we didn't do that. There are certain things that I think we could have done differently, but regrets, I don't see it.
I think it was a great experience. I think it was fun. It was just the most serious, you know, band that I've been in, where we're like, dude, we want to hit the road. We want to go on tour. Let's go with another band. Let's fund this. And just doing it ourselves.
And at the time, of course, we're so young. Like we didn't have responsibilities. What I was like my early 20s.
Let's go. Yeah.
I didn't have nothing. I didn't have any bills.
Play
Like,
a show in Texas.
I didn't even
Let's
have
go.
a car yet. Like I didn't have a car insurance. I didn't have a
Yeah.
cell phone. I didn't have nothing
Just
to worry
went
about.
for it. Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, and then we slept on floors. We slept in I don't know
Kitchen floors.
Yeah, that was fun.
Almost slept in the car.
Yeah, almost slept in the car.
Yeah.
Slept in random people's
Other people's houses
You know,
and
that was fun
hotels.
too. But yeah, it was a really good experience as far as like from going through that aspect of transitioning from the reasonings of why I started, and then of course the reasons why it ended. It kind of just happened for a reason, and like I said, I don't have any regrets. I look at it, I'm like, bro, that was a good experience for me as far as like
I had a great time.
like living life as far as like at that age where you're still doing what you love doing, but then of course you're kind of being irresponsible in a way where you're not really focusing on your finances, you're not really focusing on your education.
Yeah.
But still it was a good experience as far as like how to navigate and how to put things together, you know, like understanding like, oh, this is a business, not
We
just
started like recording our own album.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we got with the oh man, I forgot his name. We went to his like condo. We recorded the album there.
Condo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the guitar player. I forgot his name too.
Yeah, we had him for a little while.
Yeah,
as a
he
guitar
was
player.
a guitar player that we had for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, remember him too. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Use him for his little home studio.
Yeah. So from there, like I said, we've had a lot of experiences together. I'm now reconnecting with a lot of old friends after I don't even know how many years.
So long.
I think I did your sister's wedding. And then from there, that was like the first time that I saw you guys for a very good
a long
minute. Like I
time.
haven't seen you guys in a good minute.
Yeah.
Since the last time we actually spoke to each other in Clarence's kitchen.
Man.
That awkward conversation.
Yeah. Still some things in the air. I don't know.
Nah, not really. Not for me. I said it all. I was always very straight and direct, and even from the beginning, I was like, okay, this is what it is. If this happens, this is what's gonna happen, and literally that's what I did. I was never.
That's
I
true.
was never in the okay, maybe. I was like, nah, this is my life, and I'm gonna mitigate risk as much as I can, because at this point in my life, when we ended the band, it was more of we were now a little older, and I'm like, we're either gonna go full force as far as like everybody, not just musically, but everyone has to put their foot forward business wise, and understand that it has to be committed 100%, and if not, it's just not gonna work out, you know, because it is a band effort.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then when you said that you probably had to leave, and I just had like a click in my mind. I was like, well, if Irvin's gonna leave, I don't know. Like it's just been so long since we played together.
Yeah.
And it would have felt different or weird playing with someone else on guitar, and I didn't. It was also just the whole, oh, now we gotta look for a new guy and then see how that vibe is, and it was just starting over. It was already too late for me to start over.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of how I felt too. I was like,
cousin followed after. I was like, after I said, okay, if you're leaving, I'm leaving. Cousin said, all right, well, if you're leaving, I'm leaving. Well, then that's it. All right, you know.
As far as like when it came down to the ending of the actual band, was there any resentment towards anybody, like towards me? And I'm just gonna say towards me because I can't speak on because other people aren't here. I don't want us to speak about them.
Yeah.
And as far as like negativity or any sort of topic in that arena, but
sure.
when it came down to me, because you know, like I made the decision for almost like everybody, you know, like, or technically I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I didn't. It was
Yeah.
a decision that I made for myself, but with that followed everyone else's decision as far as like where it was gonna go.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I wouldn't say resentment. It was more so if you were willing to stick around until we can, you know, go at it again, that probably was stuck around. Who knows what would have happened between that time and, you know, restarting.
Yeah.
But it made it a little easier to kind of put priorities in my head, and I'm like, well, if he's leaving, you know, it is like, I mean, you made good points. You know, it's going to take a while until we can restart, and I feel like the flame would have gone out by the time we're like, okay, let's do it again. Let's start it up. So no, I wouldn't say any resentment.
Okay.
You had good points and they're valid points, and I was like, you know, sure, that's fine with me.
And I kind of, I've actually kept up as far as like what everyone else is doing. Everybody seems some like in their little realm of like happiness, you know. I'm doing my own business now. You're doing your audio stuff that you actually went to school for.
Yeah, for Musicians Institute. Yeah. I went there, and that's when I started doing live sound for a couple years. But yeah, again, just that hustle. And I was like, oh, let's do something else. And then I always loved traveling, so this production manager position came with travel. So the office work is but
I saw that you were
was fun.
playing music for a little bit too.
I was, just random cover bands
Okay.
would hit me up. I know I was playing for a church in Anaheim, and from there, one of the guitar players would hit me up. I have an 80s cover band, and we're playing some shows. Like, you want to play? Sure, let's do it. I did that, and then this Fall Out Boy tribute band hit me up, and they're like, you want to play with us? Sure. I was supposed to play with a Paramore tribute band, and then pandemic hit. Never happened. But yeah, just a couple friends out there, they just hit me up whenever their drummer can't do it or whatever happens. It's hard for me to say no to play music, especially now. I don't do it that often.
Yeah. Are you currently playing anything?
Not fully commitment type of playing. So right now it's just focused on work.
Okay.
So randomly, if I get a text, they have a show coming up, I'll do it. Yeah. I think the next one we have is maybe in like 2 weeks. Actually, just remembered.
You have a show?
I think it's about in 2 weeks.
Where?
The Yamaha Casino.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's the one with the Fall Out Boy tribute band.
Oh, okay.
And that one should be fun. Yeah. I broke my in-ears.
That's nice.
My
They were expensive?
nice ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
the nice
expensive.
ones I won at NAMM. And I sat on them by accident
that's
when I was
lovely.
jumping off a stage.
Oh, that's lovely.
I had it in the same pocket with my phone. And I was like, yeah, let's take a picture. Let me sit down on the stage first to jump off. And crack, it happened. And we took the picture. I was like, I'm not going to think about it. And after the picture, I was like, well, I don't know if I want my phone to be cracked or my ears to be cracked. That was my in-ears.
That sucks.
Yeah. But I still had a backup pair. They're being repaired now
yeah.
because they still didn't really work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be a good shot to do.
That's
So
cool.
we'll see
And then
how-
I remember I was at your house yesterday and you were telling me that you might go to Russia and all these other countries.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Yeah, well, that's all part of work. So that's cool. And recently, work's been just mostly kind of East Coast events, but coming up early next year, I'll be going to, it's either going to be Croatia or Moscow, which we're thinking Croatia more so. And then the other one will be Thailand, going to Bangkok for another event too.
What type of events are your...
They're all corporate.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, corporate events, just ballrooms,
Gotcha.
projector screens,
Gotcha,
and
gotcha.
presentations.
That's cool.
So it can be pretty tiring sometimes, just like 19-hour days stuck in a ballroom. So it's not like we always have time to go out and explore, but we push for it. Oh, you want to do rehearsals? Let's just do it early in the morning tomorrow, and tonight we'll have a dinner out with the crew.
That's cool.
So we'll try to do that. So that I am looking forward to. I think that's gonna be really fun. It's like I've never been to those places. Would have never really thought to go to those places. My travel is more, let's go to Europe, this kind of stuff. But Thailand's gonna be very interesting. But I am looking forward to that one. That's the travel that I am looking forward to.
Long term, as far as goal wise, are you wanting to continue doing the current things that you're doing now, as far as like the events and just sound mixing, or are you at one point wanting to jump into like being the musician again?
I think I would be happy with what I'm doing now.
Okay.
Production management, I don't mind doing it. I think playing music, I'll always want to do it, but I can't say I am prepared to fully commit to that thing again. And going out and hey, check out my band. We have an album coming out. Come to my show. Yeah. I just feel like I'm a little too old to do that. Me personally, many people will probably still go out of their way to do it, and more power to them. But me, I think I'm done with that.
It's a tough career to go through.
So I'm happy right now with like random friends who hit me up for a cover gig.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. I never wanted to be popular or famous, whatever, to that extent by doing covers.
Yeah.
Like I never felt great, like getting praise, if you will, for playing covers.
Yeah.
It's not even my music. I'm just playing this drummer's music.
Yeah.
So I'm fine just doing that on the side, just so I can play my drums. Like my drums right now sit in a separate living room in their bags, and this is like my baby. This is the drum set I wanted. I worked at Guitar Center for a while, and I was like, you know what? I get some discount. Let's just do it. Let's do it.
Is it the same drum set that you were playing before, the PDP?
No. So I had the Orange County percussion
you had
drums at that
the
time.
white ones, no?
Now?
No,
Or
the
then?
last show that we played, were you playing white drums or white? Because I remember you had the
No.
PDP ones, and then you were going to transition to a.
No, I think that was like a house kit though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if there were any color. The two last kits I had, or the last kit I had was in Orange County, is like a dark blue with black hardware.
Yeah.
So then that one I gave to my brother
Ah.
because my brother didn't have a drum set anymore. So I gave that to him, and I was just like, let's just drop the money on this drum set I've always wanted. So it's all Ludwig, classic maple, vintage pearl wrap, and yeah, I got the Ludwig double pedals. It's all Ludwig, everything. So I loved it, the bags and everything. And then I just stopped playing. I was like, dang it. And I feel so bad for my drums sitting in there. And then my house right now doesn't have air conditioning. So they're sitting in heat. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I want to find like, just some storage or room that I can rent out a month and just have them set up.
Yeah.
Because it's also a commute to work. And on my way home, there's so much traffic that I'm just like, well, halfway down my commute, I'll just like jump off the freeway. I'll go to my storage unit. I'll just play my drums for a little while. Because I have an electric drum set, but if you're a drummer, like,
it's not the same.
Not the same at all.
It's not the same.
So I'm thinking about doing something like that.
That's cool.
Just so I can play my actual drums.
That's
and
cool.
I paid for them.
No, I get it. Towards the end of the actual band, I started getting a lot of guitars for free. Like literally, I started getting guitars for free. Like I think the last one that I got was a Telly, the black Telly. I think I did play with that one maybe like 2 or 3 shows. I've always wanted a Telly, and literally we stopped playing music. I was like, what is
it was Telly.
it
was just that timing. I was like, well, shoot.
Yeah, and then from there, then I got the blue Strat that we recorded on. I don't know if you remember that one.
I remember the blue Strat.
There was a blue Strat that one of my students let me borrow for our last album. And I think we didn't use it for the EP, but I remember using it for the album.
Dang. Yeah, that I don't.
So I ended up buying that one from the guy because he was going to sell it, and of course it had sentimental value. And this is already when the band had already broken up. So I was like, you know what? Let me buy it off of you. And then he gave me another Strat, another black Strat. And then from there, because currently I am now doing real estate photography, videography, I go to houses where either people already moved out or currently moving out. And I remember going to a house maybe 2 years ago where they had a big old storage house in the back. And I guess the owner's brother had passed away years prior. And I guess he was like a inspired musician where he would just buy a bunch of instruments, like from guitars, keyboards, basses, like everything, like a ukulele. I don't know what it. And I remember seeing all these instruments. And then that's when I asked him like, hey, is anyone in the house a musician? Because I see all these cases and amps. They told me the story, and then from there they were like, oh, we're moving to an RV, we're gonna travel, this is our retirement. I'm like, okay, cool. I asked them about the instruments. They told me like, oh, we're gonna sell everything. And I just told them, like, not thinking that I wanted to buy anything, I just said, if you need any help, let me know. I could price tag them for you because this is like kind of like my arena. And they said, yeah, sure enough. They hit me up like 2 weeks later. I came to the house, started price tagging. They asked me if I wanted to sell the instruments. I said no, because that takes time. They were asking me like, hey, we'll give you a part of the commission. I'm like, nah, I don't have the time for it. I was just trying to help them out. Maybe a week or 2 later, that's when they hit me up again. That's when they told me like, hey, are you wanting to buy any of this stuff? Because we need to move out and it's a lot of stuff. I took my car, basically offered them $600, took everything, like everything. Like,
I don't even them out.
I don't even know how many guitars.
$600.
I don't even know how many guitars. I took a couple of amps, a couple keyboards.
Nice.
Like I literally took everything. I told them like, look, I'm not playing any music right now. So I am planning to sell this stuff. I know I don't have the time right now. So I am literally almost like giving you money so that you could save time right now for you, so that you don't have to worry about it anymore. That was my whole salesman as far as like getting the stuff, you know. So yeah, they agreed and I took it, and currently like I am now playing some of those instruments, but that was like 2 years ago, and now I'm barely jumping into music again a little bit. I'm not saying fully like you are, or like how we used to do it, because it's like that type of commitment. That type of commitment, it's like it's a serious commitment where if you either have experienced it, you'll understand. If you haven't experienced it, where you say, oh, I wish I could play an instrument. Yeah, but if you really want to be good at it, you're going to need to like sacrifice so many things and put in the time to your instrument to actually be somewhat decent.
Yeah.
Not even good, just somewhat decent.
Yeah,
So like that
just
whole dynamic is just and like
so
no
much
one really
easier when you're
understands.
young.
Yeah, no one really understands how much it takes to actually be good at that, and then also combine it with other people. You know,
yeah,
that
it's
skill
relying
level.
on the others as well to pull their own weight.
Yeah, that skill
It's
level
just-
is just, it's crazy. It's like a marriage relationship kind of deal where you're like putting yourself in this creative mindset where you're bringing in music and you're hoping that something comes out of it. No one's making judgments and all this other stuff. And then, of course, you know, like we're humans, people get mad at each other because we have our own life. Besides the mad, you know, either we're tired or something's happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. So then we get in each other's nerves. So it's a lot. It's like,
yeah, and you know, I just felt like I've worked so hard to come this far in what I'm doing, so I'm not gonna, you know, give that up to try again. You know, oh my goodness, do that again. I don't think I can. I just don't have the energy. So definitely when you're younger, it's definitely
that's where you're
so much more.
Yeah, that's where you're really wanting to put your efforts in. And that's kind of where I felt already understood that the time period that we were doing it in. That's why I really pushed it, where like work didn't matter, girlfriends didn't matter for me at least. Like my girlfriends or the girlfriend that towards the end, she was always arguing the point of like, hey, I'm not gonna say who is always skipping out on practice. Why don't you? And for me, it was never that idea of like, I can't do that because that person who is the person and I am who I am. And when this ends, I don't want anything in the back of my head thinking that, hey, I should have done more or I should have done less. And no, there was more of like, this is it for now. And I'm going to go full out. And there was nothing else for me. But now it's different. Like you're saying, now the responsibility is completely shifted.
Yeah. I can't imagine trying to do it all over again. It tires me just to think about everything we had to go through just to get a few people at one show. That's a lot of work just on its own. So covers is fine. Production management, I'm happy with. Traveling is great, and I still see my family. You know, for a lot of times I'm free in the weekends, unlike I was working theme parks. That's a lot harder. Working venues like rock venues and stuff like that, you don't get weekends off. That's the busiest time. So that was another plus about this job. It's like, oh yeah, you'll get a lot of weekends off. So that was a plus. I was like, all right, weekends off, travel, production management, still just looking at equipment. You know, I don't mind shopping for equipment. So I'm happy where I am.
Yeah, that's good.
Sure.
That's really good. Currently, as far as like, let's say if we were like if there was a genie around and he's like, he grants you the wish, like, hey, Carlos, I want to make you 21 again. But you're going to have all the knowledge that you currently have. You're going to go back in time. It's not going to like, you're automatically going to get young. You're going to go back in time when we were like out of line, and you have all the knowledge as far as like playing music, doing audio, I don't know, adult responsibilities when it comes to your finances. Would you do anything different?
I would definitely have a different kind of push, I think, different motivation. I don't know if I would have done anything different. I think what we were doing, I think, was good. It would just been a lot more polished. I feel like if we went back in the day and took a look at the stuff we were doing, the way it sounded, the way it looked, and just took what we have now and, you know, just made that better, I feel like that itself would have been motivation to continue. So I think looking back, or in that time, I'm just looking like, yeah, this is good, it's cool that we're doing this. But it just, I feel like if it was a little more, you know, clean, I think that would have pushed me to keep going. But to just go back in time, being 21 with what I know now, I don't know. I don't think so, because I think it would almost be the same, just more polished.
On your end, though.
On my end.
Okay.
I'm on my end. Yeah.
But what would you do for the band, like as far as like the knowledge that you have acquired?
Shoot, not a whole. I mean, the funny thing is that back then, like there isn't even anything that I was doing that was really changing the band or pushing the band to something else. It was I wrote my piece of the music, I played it. I think it was you who brought a lot of the production value to what we were doing as a band. So I feel like that's a question you would ask yourself, because for me, going back, telling what would I do differently, I don't think there is anything I would do differently, but I would also do maybe, you know, like I feel like we could probably produced our own album sounding a lot better than we did, but you know, that's only the sound of it. But the music itself still, you know, still could have been better.
What about the business side? Would you, because you're still somewhat in the business, but not really in the business of like music, but you're currently in a business that allows you to do sound, or like there's a team set. Because I've learned through what I'm doing now, owning my own business, how to actually run a business. So I could honestly say what I would have done differently in the business side. And that's what a band is. It's a business, like a group, you know. But is there anything that you could say that you would have done differently for the band, business-wise, like structurally?
I think the only thing I would see is kind of having not wasted our time in Hollywood.
Right.
I think it would be the only thing. We lost all our money. We lost the band fund trying to play Hollywood and thinking it was going to do something for us. And in the end, it was like, shoot, we could have just gone to San Diego and just gotten paid something. That was probably the main thing, you know, thinking about the business side. It's like we probably would have made money going out of state, even, or just a little further away from LA, but mainly out of state. That would have changed a lot too, because I think a lot of times we couldn't take certain opportunities because we didn't have the money. You know, and we also weren't the kind of like, oh, just ask my parents to give me money. So we made our own shirts. We had a little blow dryer, put ink on our own shirts. And I created our album while I was in school. You know, I was like, oh yeah, I got Photoshop in there. I was like, what, we do this for free? All right, let's do it. Did that. But the Hollywood killed us, man.
Yeah, Hollywood did turn us.
Like
the idea of playing Hollywood, like at the Whiskey A Go Go, those are like things that I'll never forget. And
so much fun.
Yeah,
it's
like
great.
I could honestly say like, oh, I played at the Whiskey or at the House of Blues, but at the time, who didn't, you know?
Yeah,
it was just, like,
oh yeah, the money. Come on up,
you know,
let's
like
do
just
this.
pay for, like what is it? Pay to play.
Yeah, pay to play.
I remember at one of the Whiskey A Go Go's shows, seeing a guy with a headset, and he was with no band, just himself singing Blitzkrieg Bop.
Oh my god, you remember that?
Like I was like, that's where in my head I'm like, all right, this is where it came down to. This is what the Whiskey A Go Go is now. You know, it's no longer Eddie Van Halen.
Bunny at one of our shows at the Whiskey.
I do remember that. It was like he wasn't at a show. He wasn't at the. He was just like at the crowd. Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's always gonna be cool to say I played, you know, House of Blues Sunset, especially when it's not even there anymore.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can still say, I played there. Whiskey, that was cool too. I think we played the Viper Room.
Mm-hmm. Maybe or Rainbow. No, we played the Viper Room.
Viper Room. I don't think we made it to the Rainbow Room.
No.
We almost played Key Club, what we thought was going to be the main stage of Key Club. And they're like, no, you're in the Plush Lounge. And then we go downstairs to the dungeon.
Yeah, it's a basement.
And then, although it was packed.
It was a good show. It was a good show.
But still, that threw me off. But, you know, yeah, it's cool. We had the chance to play it. We did. That was fun. But business-wise, not a great choice.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. There was a lot of things that I could honestly say that I could go back and just reanalyze on certain aspects of what a band is, and honestly we just never fully established leadership as far as like who is taking the reins of the band, because we were technically, a band is a group of people that are combining ideas and creativity, but when it came down to the business, we never established someone like, okay, everyone's opinion matters, but this is the person that's going to have the last say, because at the end of the day, it's like it has to be a business oriented, you know, person that needs to kind of take it where it needs to go, because everybody's going to want illusions of like, oh, we should do this, we should do that.
Yeah.
But those are the things that I could look back now. I'm like, maybe I should have been more assertive on certain things. Cause I do remember saying things that people didn't agree with me or whatever. And I was always the no person rather than a yes person.
Yeah.
But I think I should have been more assertive and I could say that I was more of the meaner person too when it came down to decisions making, but I always gave in to the band as far as like, okay, if you guys say cool, I'm not okay with it, but I'm going to go with it. You know, I'm going to go with it.
Yeah. I was going to say that's kind of where I was too. You know, I was like, oh yeah, I see where you're coming from. Oh, I see where you're coming from. Whichever one you guys want to do, I'll do. And that's kind of where I was. But if there was something I felt strongly about, and then I would be like, no, I agree with Irvin. Like, we should do this or not do this.
Yeah.
But that did cause a lot of frustration. And a lot of little arguments. But
lovely arguments.
That's fun.
You know,
it's the experience.
It's the experience. Yeah, but now that's where I'm like kind of because now doing my own business, having my own team as far as editors, photographers, videographers, or whatever. I always tell them like your opinions always matter as far as like if you bring something to the table, I'm going to listen, I'm going to analyze it. But if I think it's not a good idea because the time isn't currently where we're at, you know, financially, or we're focusing on, I am going to be the last say, and I'm going to say no. And that's it. There's no discussion after that. And I think that's what we needed in that band because we were just all group of kids thinking we knew everything and everything was amazing in our heads, you know, like glorifying the idea of playing here, or we should do this or whatever. But at the end of the day, there was no logic being met and set to say, okay, cool, the opportunity did come, but at the time we are focusing on this and let's just focus on this because like you said, we did spend so much time and we did spend a lot of energy on Sunset Boulevard where we could have literally just said no to it, all of that. Because the idea was to play there, that someone was going to see us, and then we're going to recruit it, and we're going to get a record label.
You know, that
the dream, right?
You know, usual stuff.
But of course, we were already eras far away from that. You know,
no one's going to those shows
no one's
anymore,
actually recruiting anymore, or even I think we were hitting the ends of that era where.
You might get lucky.
Yeah, but it was very far away from...
It was already moving toward all social
like
media.
all digital, yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where I think if I could go back in time, I would have been more assertive as far as like... And I think I started to towards the end, and I started to notice like the attitudes too changed, especially when I started doing the photos for us and started doing the videos for us. It was more like, oh, you had a great idea, but too bad, it's my camera, you know, that kind of thing. And I do remember where that discussion where like, oh, it's a bit, I'm like, I don't care. Like literally I started now going towards like, but now it's my time that I'm spending on actually learning how to do it, how to edit the actual video, and I have to get it done by tomorrow. So whatever you have to say right now, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry. It just doesn't matter to me. But that's where I'm like, okay, I know it sounds mean, but that's where the dynamic had to have gone to in certain aspects, like creativity wise, bring in everything as much as a group. Business wise, we never had someone to actually lead the band, and that's where our downfall was for the band.
And everyone kind of wanted to lead in a way, and it just kind of pulled us a little apart.
And that's kind of where I now looking at that, like maybe we should have managed it a little better as a group, but once again, we were really young, and like I said, we were all in our heads, or like we know the best, and you know, it's my way, or if not, you know, I'm gonna get mad.
And then we go home angry, and then
exactly,
come back for the next practice, and everyone's still just, you know,
bitter,
eyeing each other. And like, I still remember what you said last week, dude. Like, I don't trust you.
I don't like you anymore.
I don't like you. But all right, let's play this song about love.
Exactly. But no, those are the things that I'm now currently learning for myself, having my own business. And I had to learn quick too, because now when you're putting in money and investing in to like other people, that's where you're like, oh, you know, it's no longer about just having fun, being creative. Because what I'm doing currently is creative, you know, as far as like videos and photos, all that stuff. It's all creative, like the music. But now there's one person that if I say no, you better not question it. Like, that's it. Like, you do not say, oh, Irvin, I don't care. Like, oh, you want to question me? I'm sorry, you're fired now. That's how it is. Like, there's nothing that you could say or do, because at the end of the day, if my business goes under, I'm the one having to deal with that,
Yeah.
not you. You're going to go
I see
get another
that.
job and that's it.
Mhm,
I'm taking everything. All the weight is on me.
Yep.
So what happens, your opinions do matter. But if I say no, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I'll
It's
hear
not
you
gonna-
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'll hear
Yeah,
you
yeah.
out. And, I
Gotcha.
analyze it and I'll say,
Mhm.
I won't just say no straight out. I'll just
Yeah.
expect, I am going to explain myself. But if you're not understanding that explanation and you're still arguing, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so sorry. Well,
Like if some stubbornness comes
yeah,
out.
exactly. Yeah, but
Gotcha.
that's where I'm like, okay, I wish either I was more mature to understand what I now understand and kind of brought it into the band. Maybe it wouldn't have worked, or maybe it would have, because like I said, we were all really young, and if I was already kind of getting like the pull from everyone as far as like me saying, well, who cares, oh well, I remember doing one photo for us when I started doing Photoshop composite, and I just wanted one picture. That's it. I didn't want multiple pictures. I just wanted one picture. And it was just, I remember the conversation. I'm like, oh, you're being a dictator. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. But that's where I should have been more in the beginning. Like that's where towards the end, that's where I was becoming. I'm like, I don't care because, who's going to do the work? Like who's taking the time to learn what I needed? Like in my head is already done. I just needed that one picture. You have a vision, but now you're telling me to make that vision happen for you. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it wasn't there for me anymore, where I was like kind of more open to listening. But when it came down to other stuff, when it came to the music stuff, I was way open because I always told everybody, like, as far as like when it came to talent, I was the least talented. You guys were the more talented when it came to the natural talent, but I was more of the workhorse. I'm going to go home and try to write a song.
Yeah, I remember that for sure.
And like I was more of like, because Sam was naturally talented ear wise, so I could play something.
Yeah,
and
play something and be like, yeah, keep doing that.
Yeah, and
right?
like I would
Just play
forget.
something.
I'm like, I don't even know what. He's like, oh, just put your hand.
What did
here,
you just do?
Put your finger here, and that's what you played. I'm like, oh, I played it, and he heard it once.
Yeah.
So when it came to natural talent, I think the actual band, as far as like besides me, you guys were more naturally talented. I was just more focused on like, okay, let me show what I could do as far as like the work, as far as like behind it.
Yeah.
Because when it came down to everything, I know you guys were really talented, and I was just like kind of like lingering into it. I was like, all right, hopefully.
I think it was more so me and Sam just like we've been playing together, like we're cousins. I think we can read each other's minds. I think was all. So once you started playing something, like me and Sam already kind of had an idea of what we were gonna.
But even so, like you have natural rhythm. Sam has natural ears as far as like perfect pitch, and then Clarin, she sings really well and she's a good writer. That's natural talent. Like it wasn't hard for her to write music as far as like we gave her a couple of verses or even a verse chorus. And it was like, oh, she's just already writing it down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not good with words. Like, what is she writing? Like, that's, for me, that was natural talent. For me, it was more of like, let me go sit in my room by myself for a couple of hours and let me figure this out because I need to bring a new song because I'm already getting bored of these old songs.
Come into the garage, play on your phone. Here's what I recorded last night.
That's
like, what are you playing?
Exactly.
Something like this. And I think there's times where you would play something that you recorded, and I think I forgot what song it was, but Sam was listening to it, and I was like, "Oh, you're not playing in 4/4 though," and we were gonna have you change it. But I was like, "No, you know what? Just hold on, let me just see what I can play." And I think
I know what song, Falling.
Falling,
Yeah, it's Falling.
The beginning of Falling, yeah. And I was like, let's go for it. It's not 4/4. I don't care, whatever. Let's just do something weird. I always liked weird. It's always weird. Circuit Survive. I think we always matched with that with you. We're both Circuit fans, and then. So I wanted to keep it, and we did. I liked it.
Yeah,
I really liked that song. I think we're much better at those ballads.
And those things that we're talking about, as far as like me coming in with stuff that was out of rhythm or like weird, it wasn't because I was trying to make it weird or out of tempo or out of rhythm. It was literally because
just decided to change the rhythm at this
exactly.
point.
I was like, oh, it sounds good to me, and then you guys would explain it to me like, oh, you're playing it in this, and then which one? You guys would call it the fight riff.
The fire away.
What? No. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh my goodness! I forgot the name of that one. That one's going back. Are you sure that was the fire away?
No. Because I remember when we were recording with the not recording. We are just kind of like organizing our music with some guy down in the valley. We were doing the counts for
that's
everything.
right, that's
We were
right.
doing the counts, and then Sam's like, "Oh, that's not that. It doesn't start with the first chord. It starts. It's technically that's the second chord." And I'm like, I play the first
You're
chord.
like,
That's the
"Oh,
downbeat.
That's my first chord.
that's the downbeat. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You guys had natural rhythm, and then of course, like Sam had the natural ear for everything. And then of course,
for
my
sure. I
thing
getcha.
was just like, let me just try to write music.
Yeah.
Let's
and
see.
I was just accepting it as it was. I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to change it. I was like, sure, that's what you got. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
just go for it. So there's some weird things we did.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
I really liked.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
honestly could say that you guys were the talent of the band. I was just more of just like, let me make sure they don't find out that I don't have talent.
We knew. We just didn't want to say it.
Where I was like, I'd forget the intros and stuff. Like,
Yes, Urban, that's
shit.
fantastic. That sounds great. Yes.
I was like, no, that's
Great
the
job.
downbeat. That's the down.
Me
like,
and Sam
I
would
was
turn
like,
around. All right, so we're gonna change this, dude.
I was like, that's the downbeat. That's the wrong beat, Urban. I was like, God damn, like Jesus. I was like, when will I listen?
Yeah. But man, we came out with some pretty good songs though. We had some cool ones.
Towards,
That was
I think
great.
the EP that we were recording towards the end were my better songs as far as like,
Secrets.
yeah,
What do we
or
call that EP.
what was it? Nala's Kingdom,
Nala's
and then
Kingdom.
there was another one that I wrote as far as like the guitar
Black
stuff.
Suit?
Was it? There was Media Disease. That was one of
Media
my favorite
Disease.
ones too.
Really? Yeah, it was fun. Media Disease, Black Suit. Forget About Me was on that one too. Or was
Forget
going to
About
be.
Me.
Yeah.
Which one's that one?
Forget about me. Dun, 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 dun. We did the whole video in that one
the
warehouse
backyard?
no, we set up the lights and everything at the stage.
Oh, at that Moab or whatever it's called, or
Yeah, it was like a big warehouse. There was like a
Warehouse.
basketball court in there too.
oh yeah,
Forgot
yeah.
that
Where
place
all the
was.
girls came in and no one's with them anymore.
Yeah. That was good. And they all turned nerdy and stuff like that. That was a fun video that we did that one.
So going back to that, we did a music video called "Forget About Me." We invited our girlfriends that we were dating at the time. So if you guys ever want to go back and see who we were dating,
Oh, my girlfriend at the time wasn't in that one.
she wasn't.
No,
What?
no, it was from EOK. It was his wife, Michael,
Oh,
who jumped in for that
Wow.
one. Yeah,
oh, she got saved then. I
Yes.
guess they won't know who she is. They won't know who she is then.
That was Save Me.
Yeah.
That was the one she made it in.
Okay, see, he ruined it. Now they'll know. Now they could
Now
go on
you
YouTube.
know.
Just
Now
like,
you know.
dude,
It's a
save
good
me."
song. It's a good song. Look us up.
But yeah, those were good times as far as like production value, actually putting the band together, currently understanding how to actually
Definitely get
write
more
music.
creative and-
Like I said, I would say my better songs were towards the end because now I was understanding song structure and it was easier for me to actually put a verse together rather than just a bunch of riffs and then having you guys figure it out. Where rather than I'm like, oh, I kind of see what they were doing before. Now I'm going to go intro verse, maybe a bridge, and then chorus back to another verse. And then now I was actually writing like a musician rather than just jamming out and then presenting it like
little
a
piece.
whole jam
Yeah.
session.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah.
definitely got more creative then. That was for sure for me. I was listening to a lot more Thrice and Circus Survive and stuff at that time. And that's when, Black Suit came into play and that was fun. I don't think we ever released those songs.
The EP,
either.
no. I wanted to hit up Rob at one point and see if I could get the files because we did pay him for that.
Did?
We did pay him.
Oh.
Yeah. So we paid him, and once he never heard from us, he never got back to us. So hopefully he didn't delete the files, and then I could either find someone
Wow.
else to mix it and master, and then just release them as is. Because even though I know we're not going to perform those songs, I would still like to have other people enjoy what we created,
Yeah.
and then just kind of just release them as is.
Yeah, tell us how much we still suck.
No, they were actually.
I think
they
it'd
were
be
good
cool. I just think it'd be cool to just have them out.
Yeah, that's kind of
They're just sitting. They're just sitting there.
Yeah,
Like-
and I honestly don't really remember what we played. Like if I heard the song, I would remember. But if you were to say, "Oh, Nala's Kingdom," I kind of remember, but I don't remember. I just remember like my guitar part in the beginning, and that's literally it.
Like
Like
I don't remember.
yeah, it's
top of
been
my
too
head.
long as far as like what we were doing currently at that time, and then now it's just like it's been years. Like last time we saw each other, we were trying to figure that out, and I don't even remember then. Like I don't remember our last show. I don't remember if we were mixing or mastering. I just remember our last meeting, and that's literally what I remember. Currently, that's what I remember, sitting in the dining room table, having that conversation. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take my stuff. And
the awkward stand up from the table. Like,
I was like, all right, you guys, congratulations.
And the band's over. Right now, congrats. We're done.
Yeah, but that's honestly the last thing that I do remember from the actual, like, that was the last time we actually were together, like all four of us. Because I've met up with you and Sam maybe once or twice at your house. And then, of course, for your sister's wedding. Yeah. But us sitting down and actually like collabing like on music or being creative, that was literally the last time. Have you gone through any of the vlogs that we started recording too? Like,
I went through our YouTube not that long ago because someone brought up the band at work. And I was like, oh yeah, there was this one song, check this one out. But I haven't rewatched any of them. Just saw the thumbnails. I was like, oh man, that was a good time, or this was a good time. No, I haven't rewatched them though. I should.
They're fun.
It'll be fun.
No, I've actually gone through them once or twice, just because I was like, oh, I remember I used to do vlogs and all that stuff, and I was like, that's kind of where like my head was starting to go, and I can honestly say like that was my transition into getting into what I'm doing now. Is like I wanted to do something creative, but I also wanted to keep it for the band. Yeah. But it started kind of doing its own thing while I was doing the band. Now, once the band broke up, like I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to become a photographer, videographer. I was literally in 1 week, I gave up so many things. Like we let go of the band. I let go of all my students, and then also broke up with my girlfriend.
Dang.
Like I literally, I was like, all right, I can't, I'm like, if we're going to do this, I'm going to just let go of everything that wasn't working for me at the time. And I wasn't happy. I don't want to do music anymore, and I don't want to teach because I've already experienced it for, I don't know how long I was already teaching, and I didn't want to pursue it anymore. So I was like, called all my students, called the schools, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Sorry. And then that was it. And sitting in my room, like, all right, what else are what are you going to do? And I got lucky. Like I got lucky because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was not in any headspace where I'm like, oh, you have other things to fall on and you have a job to go to, or someone's going to provide you this or whatever. I was literally for maybe 2 days or 3 days sitting in my room like, all right, you don't have band practice. You don't have any shows coming up. You don't have any students. You don't have any lesson plans. I stopped school. Like I said, I let go of the girl that I was dating. And I'm like,
you really started fresh.
Yeah, I let go of everything, and I didn't talk to any of you guys.
Focus. I was there waiting for Irvin's text.
I didn't even have a phone.
You text me through your email.
I would text you through Facebook or something. But yeah, I kind of just let everything go, clean slate. I got lucky that at the time that your dad was at the office, KW, that's where I started already being recognized, because prior to the band breaking up, he had already taken me to the office as far as like doing headshots for him, not for other agents. Yeah. And then from there, because they had recognized me already, a lady that worked there currently had called me up at the time that I was literally lingering in my room. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing with you don't play video games. You don't play any sports. You don't have a girlfriend. You honestly have no friends now. So I'm like, all right, I have nothing. So like I said, luckily she called me and she offered me a job as an assistant for her. She's an agent, so she needed someone to interpret for her customers because they were Spanish speaking. She also needed me to do cold calling as far as like just selling her name. And then emails, and then sending up comps, which is basically a realtor. Like I was learning, she was asking me to be a realtor. I was like, all right, this is interesting. But like I said, from doing nothing for 3 days, and then literally she said, like, do you know anybody? You're friends with my niece. And she says, you're cool. I'm like, cool. I don't have nothing to do. I know how to speak Spanish. I know how to write some words in Spanish. and I am capable to sending out emails. So
Yeah.
I could take it. And she gave me the job. And then from there, another one of my friends, Burika, he owns a studio out on 10th Street in Lancaster, which I've helped him out before while we're in the band too. He called me. He's like, hey, I need help at my perfume store. Do you want a part-time job? And I told him like, hey, I just got a job at KW. He's like, what time to what time? He's like, and I told him like, oh, it's from 9 to 12. It was just only 3 hours, 3 times a week. He's like, okay, let's do 3 times a week. So you'll come in after your first job, you'll come at 2 or 1. So literally going from one job to the next job. And I'm like, okay, I guess my life is kind of coming together again.
No music.
No students, no gigs, no girlfriend,
friends.
nothing, no friends. I had no friends. No one was calling me no more.
Oh, that's cool though. Yeah. It all just started from there. So your early work was Distant Skies Black.
Yeah. Everything that has to do with video and photo, all Distant Skies. Nothing past then. Nothing. I had no experience.
Check out those vlogs.
Those vlogs are nice. I enjoyed those. I think we should have. I think I should have made them longer. But you know, like they're like 3 to 4 minutes. But now vlogs are longer. Yeah. And I know we had so much more footage that I recorded that I could have added more, but at the time, like, no one's really gonna care. But now it's literally like a biography that is digital that I could go back on and like see how we looked, how we dressed, what car I was driving.
Now, it could be really cool to see everything. At the time, it was like you said, no one cares.
Yeah, no one's
gonna listen for more than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like we were doing such crazy exciting things. Yeah. It was us at the house.
Yeah.
Hanging out. We did the Starburst challenge. Remember Starburst challenge? It's like random Starburst in the bag. What flavor is this?
Yeah, but no, I do remember that. That's where it all kind of like gathered towards my realm of like, okay, I have nothing to now I have. I now have a job that I was never used to too. I never had a job that paid, because when I was teaching, I taught privately. I was teaching for $20-$30 an hour. So at the time, it was like now the minimum wage is $15 an hour. So back then, I think it was like 8 or 7.
$7.50 or
something like that. So I was technically making decent money for a small amount of time. So when I started working as an assistant, she started paying me, minimum wage, and then the perfume store started paying me minimum wage. I started looking at my checks. I'm like, bruh.
I have something.
I was like, what is this? People live off of this? Like, I did not understand what the concept of minimum wage was until I got my first jobs. As far as like, you're working in an office.
Oh, yeah, because that was just rates before that.
Yeah, you're working in an office and you're mine, and you're going to do whatever I say for, I don't know how much money it was at the time, $10 or something, $9. Maybe they were paying me. And I was like, what? Like, you're going to pay me $10 an hour and I'm going to sit here and I have to do what you say, and I have to come in here for, I was like, in my head, it just didn't, I couldn't do it. Like, I quit within a month. Like, I could not last that long. I was too independent for so long for me to sit and understand like how this is how life works. I was like, no, thank you. Luckily, when I was doing as an assistant, the bug came in to do real estate photography, because I saw she would ask me to send comps, which is like houses for sale, to her clients. I would look at the pictures, and from there, that's where I started to notice like, these pictures suck. Like, I could do way better, and I have no idea what they're doing. So it gave me motivation to actually at least try. So once the first agent came and hit me up, it was easier for me to say yes, because I already had seen pictures, and they weren't that great. I saw agents that they're using their cell phone, or they're using the little cameras. Oh, yeah. I was like, I could do so much better. From there, that's where I'm like, a business started establishing for myself. It did take me a good minute to actually make a form of income, because when you're starting something, you're almost giving it for free. Especially back then, not a lot of photographers were actually doing it. So there is not a lot of knowledge of actually how to do it, either shooting or editing. So it was from scratch. I'm like, okay, let me see if I could do it, because I do not want to work for minimum wage. I would rather do my own thing and try my best to build something, because
on your own,
doing what other people are telling me to do is just, it
does not work with you.
It would eat at me, like sitting at the perfume store, and I'm so sorry, Burika, but Jesus Christ, like sitting behind a counter waiting for a customer to show up, because sometimes it was dead for hours, and I'm just sitting there fiddling my thumb. My brain is not being stimulated in any way.
Yeah.
A customer will walk in and I'm almost like wanting them not to leave because I would have someone to talk to at least. Like for me, it just didn't sit well for me. I'm like, I don't know how people could live their lives this way. It just, like I said, I was already independent as far as like from the band to being a teacher. Then now doing that, it was not a good headspace for me. Not a good headspace for me. I was like, no, I now understand why people look sad when I go into these, stores and they're just like, they're just zoned out.
That's how I thought it would be when I started like an office job, but it's just, at least some people are cool and we do like little random challenges in the office, but most of it came down to the travel. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can do this. Like the office isn't too boring and it's just getting prepared for this big event that's coming up. So I was able to deal with it. But I thought that was going to be me at the office job.
Yeah, I think everybody at this point where we're at right now is kind of where they want to be. As far as like you, me, Clarence, Sam, we're all kind of doing our own thing. I haven't really spoken to Clarence or Sam for a good minute. Like I've seen Sam, but I haven't spoken to Sam because he's with his girlfriend, has his job, and then you invite me to your house like maybe once in a blue moon because you do commute, and then it's a family setting. And when sometimes you do invite me, I'm usually working like.
I got so much work to do, man.
Like yesterday, you're like, hey, come through. We're swimming. And I'm like, hey, could I just stop by and say hi? And I have to go. I literally ate a hamburger. And I'm like, of course, your sister pulled out a board game. I'm like, that's my cue. that's my cue.
You don't do the board games.
I got out. I'm like, all right. But that's
fun game.
That's kind of how we have now are living our lives currently, which is cool, because I do get to see you guys and I get to see your dad every now and then because he does come to the areas that I work at. And my mom cuts your mom's hair, and we're still kind of connected in some way.
Yeah, and I try not to like lose. I try to still hit you up. When I can. It's like you're like the oldest friend I have. We go way back.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm like, yeah, he's still in Palmdale. I'm finally in Palmdale. Like, let's hang. Let's do
exactly.
But yeah, we're still
we're still cool. But I'm saying with everybody else though, like when it comes to Clarence. It's harder because she is a girl, she has a husband, she has kids, so she has a responsibilities of like taking care of all that stuff. So it's not like it's the same thing, like we're not married, we don't have kids, we're still in the realms like we're still doing our own thing.
Just me, myself, and I.
We're just kind of navigating life as is.
You want me to go to Thailand right now? All right, let's go. I don't have to check with anyone.
Exactly. So it's a different dynamic for sure. So I'm not gonna bother her, in that way because. She's her own, she's doing her thing, and then Sam's doing his thing too. So everyone's kind of been doing good from what I'm seeing. So
Sam's happy, and Clarence looks happy too.
Yeah, and hopefully everything kind of like comes through where I get to see them, and then I could bring them into the studio too, and kind of like reminisce.
Get the whole band in here.
Reminisce. We'll play a song. What's that one song? Daddy or whatever it's called.
Daddy. Father.
It's
father.
Father wasn't there.
Father wasn't there. Yeah, that's good. That's fun.
But yeah, like like I said, things happen for a reason, and then of course things will come around, and like now I get to see you more often because now you're commuting and you do get to see your family.
Yeah.
So it's all cool, I'm gonna stick around for a minute in the AV. It's kind of my my headspace is that I'm not thinking about navigating actually like to move out. I am thinking about moving my company to Valencia as far as like not moving it, but to grow it. That's kind of, I'm little by little, I'm going to migrate what I'm doing and now have more employees. Hopefully someday I'll set up another office somewhere else and have a manager there and then start heading to the LA space and San Diego. So I do plan on growing what this is. And then hopefully this will become my my passive income at some point where I'm no longer needed as much. And I'm doing what we're doing now, which is podcasting or things that I love doing, which is just being myself, doing it when I want, how I want, not thinking about the client as far as like, oh, I want clips and I want this and I hear this, take this out. That's cool if you're making money. But when you're thinking about your own creativity, you kind of have to keep it in the back of your head that you need to do it if you want to keep pushing through the other stuff, because that becomes work and it becomes a headache at some point too.
Yeah.
So as far as my creativity, I want to keep doing my thing longevity wise forever. I'm already thinking in my 40s what I'm going to be owning, what I'm going to be doing. So that way I'm no longer having to, just kind of live day by day, on the check. You know, like I don't want to think about money for the entire, my whole life,
Dang, yeah. No, that's great though. Like that's good. Like I'm glad you're doing it all. Like I saw that motivation back when, and so it's exciting though, man. Happy for you.
Yeah, my biggest goal, and hopefully it happens one day, is like to actually have an interview with Joe Rogan. That'd be sick. That's the guy right there.
I thought you were gonna say like a wife and the family.
Nah, bro.
Not Irvin.
Nah, bro.
Not good old Irvin.
No, I want the guy. I want the guy to sit in here. I'll be like, I remember. You're the guy, you're the guy that started everything. And then, like that's kind of where my ideas for actually wanting to actually learn how to have conversations with people was because of him, just because he's very simple as far as like the way that him as a person. I don't see him as an intellectual as far as like, like a college graduate where he does talk to doctors, he does talk to scientists, he does talk to people that have nothing to do with comedy or fighting. But the way that he kind of like brings in these people, and like then I'm listening because I'm a dummy, and then I know that he's within that same mindset of like the data that he's collecting. It's probably he's not collecting everything, but at least little things are kind of coming through.
Gotcha.
And then I see how he talks and I'm like, oh, okay. I like that, cause back then if you could go, and you could probably understand this more than those that are actually watching this, is that I was way quieter back then. As far as like, I'm very reserved, like I'm not the type of person, like I don't need the attention. I'm not seeking attention. I'm like, just leave me alone.
Show up and leave.
Yeah. Just leave me alone. I don't want to be in the audience. I just put me on stage.
Yeah, you were never really in the vlogs. We never shot you in the vlogs.
Because I was shooting the vlogs, of course.
Yeah. But sometimes you would set it up on the tripod or something like that.
And then I'll set it somewhere
else. Wouldn't be there. Yeah, you'd be
I'll
still behind the camera.
Exactly.
Just like shout a few words out there from behind camera.
Yeah. But that's who I am as a person. But now that I am kind of moving forward as far as like building my company, I understand the importance as far as like communicating, as far as like actually communicating well too, not just talking to talk, but actually communicate to actually understand or if not respond to what they're talking about. So that's kind of the idea of why I started this. And I started this like maybe 2 years ago, but I kind of started letting it go because when you're growing a business, you have to put your priorities in the things that are actually going to bring this back, which was 2 years ago. I started at my friend Borica's studio with just a bunch of people that I had was already meeting up, realtors. I think my friend Shannon came in, my friend Z came in, and I kind of, I was shy, like I didn't want to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I was just fiddling my thumbs, moving around all the time. Like, and I'll look at my podcast. I'm like, bro, you need to learn how to talk. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, you need to get better. So this is self-improvement as far as like what I'm trying to do is kind of where I see myself later on. It's kind of the idea of this, but also staying creative too.
For sure. Yeah, that's your thing. I think we were on about the same way. We were on the radio station out here. Was the radio station out here that we were on?
Craigie C.
The
Heat.
The Heat. Yeah. We talked a bit on the radio, but I think you and I stayed in the back of the room.
I just said,
and it was
hi.
Claren and Sam. Yeah. Where are you with these guys? And just like, hi.
And
then
my name
Sam
is
and Claren took care of the rest, and that's all we said. That's all we did.
Yeah, they were the focus as far as like. Yeah. I could tell that they were more of the natural performers as far as like wanting to be in front of a camera, or wanting. Face of the band. Yeah, they were more of the actual wanting to be in front. I was just more of just the musician. Yeah. Let me write, let me be the creative, and leave me alone. That's it. I don't want any pictures. I don't want any videos. I don't even want to be known. I just want to be playing my guitar, and that's it.
And that's it.
Nothing else. But like I said, hopefully everybody could come through one day. Yeah. We'll set it up as far as like a whole setup. I have more microphones, so that's not a problem.
There you go. Yeah, we'll have a little acoustic in the corner,
Yeah, an acoustic.
Bring my cajon. We'll play our Christmas set that we did acoustic.
We'll get all our merch.
We'll bring all the extra merch that we still have in our closets.
The CDs that we never sold. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be awesome. Hopefully, I said, like in another couple years, like we'll see where everyone's at,
Ooh, I know.
and then hopefully I see you with a couple kids, and maybe a wife, not traveling all the time.
Right back at you, man. Let's see. We'll
settling
bring
down.
all our families.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have a daycare center too. But yeah, no,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think everything happens for a reason, and I'm happy to see what you're doing is actually like fulfilling your creativity too, like when it comes to the music stuff and
fun.
audio stuff. And then hopefully also we could kind of do music too, as far as like, because like now what I'm doing is I'm kind of doing a circle as far as like what I really wanted to do, because now the finances is now being put in place for myself. Like I worked for so long for the last 3 years where I let go of so many things, of people, of I don't know, social interactions, like now it's more like, okay, now you have your fundamentals going. Don't forget about your priorities, but don't forget that you have to live an actual life besides work.
For sure.
And now that I am a little bit more steady with my income, I'm kind of going back to music, not as how it used to be, because I picked up the guitar maybe a month ago and it was a disaster.
Oh yeah, I was the same way until like before all these people hit me up for covers.
It was not good.
Yeah, my first show, I was like, they were. I mean, the band wasn't on. They're like, yo, you're amazing. I was like,
yeah, exactly. You already know what you should sound like.
Yeah.
The same thing. Do you remember Omar?
Yeah.
I bought an amp from Guitar Center, which is that little one, which is my practice amp right now. And I hadn't seen him in years, like, I mean, years. And he's like, Irvin, what are you doing? We just started having a conversation, and literally he's like, try out my guitar. And I'm like, bro, I suck. And he's like, and I played, he's like, what are you talking? I was like, you, in my head, like I should be somewhere else. I'm not where I want to be. And it is a little bit discouraging because you understand where your strengths were at that point. And then I guess if I would have continued where I should currently be at, and it's nowhere near that, or nowhere near where I was before, it's almost like I kind of like took a couple steps back.
Yeah, it's very discouraging.
Yeah, but
that's why I don't say no to when someone asks me to play. It's like, yeah, I'll play because I need to get better.
Yeah,
I need to go back.
Well, it's a talent that I don't want to waste either. Like I said, I do want to go for full circle at one point when you, Sam, or even Clarin are kind of set lifestyle wise, where we're kind of not taking it too seriously. And if it's not even them, maybe if it's just me, you, and Sam, or just me and you, at some point I do want to like I feel that I at least have 2 or 3 more great songs. That's it. And those 2 or 3 more great songs are in my head right now. And I was like wanting to like already push them through, went towards the end of the band, and it just stopped. And I'm like, bro, like they're in here. Like I know what they sound like already, and I know what I want them to sound like. And they're just stuck in my head now, like where like I either do something about it or I don't do nothing about it. And for me, it's like, let me do what I need to do as an adult first, take care of what I need to take care of, because, money isn't everything, but money does take care of a lot of, stresses and anxieties of life. So let me take care of that first, and then let me come back and let's see what I could do. Because like I said, I don't want to let go of that talent as well entirely. I know I'm not going to be what I imagined myself to becoming when I was younger, but at least, give it a try to say like you at least presented yourself the best way you could with the time, and then of course with the resources you had and was given. So with that being said, like just go through with it. But at some point, I'm not saying I'm going to do it next month or this year. It's going to come at some point,
It'll be fun when it happens.
When it happens.
Especially like going back to like originals, trying to create something. It could be frustrating or stressful sometimes. But
I love it.
It was the best part.
I love it.
Do whatever you want to do.
The idea of just creating something out of nothing for me always just like amazing.
Especially toward the end, I feel like we were getting better.
Yeah, I was like
that's good.
Listening to Under Oath and wanting to mimic them, and it sounded nothing like Under Oath.
Media Disease I think was my Thrice time we did Media Disease. I was like, I'm gonna sound like Thrice.
It sounded nothing like Thrice. Yeah, exactly.
Sound like Thrice, no.
But yeah, those are the things that I do miss. I right now I'm currently playing with Jimmy and Chris, Eddie. We're just like jamming on Sundays. They convinced me for like they took a year to actually convince me. And I'm like, all right, let's get it. Let's do it. I'm like a little bit less busy. I'm really trying not to work every single day as much as I can. Like today I could have worked, but I chose not to, but those are the choices that I now have, because back then I didn't have a choice. You're building a business from scratch. You have to literally work no matter if you're sick, you're motivated, you're unmotivated, you're stressed, you're depressed, you're sad, whatever it is, you kind of just have to go, present yourself the best way you can, smile to the client, have a conversation where they don't even understand what you're going through or what's the current state of your mind, and just do it. But now it's more of like, okay, I have employees now, I have editors now, and I have my own little spot now where I'm usually in half the time. I'm usually never home. And if you could tell, like, I'm like making it into my little man cave little by little.
I like it.
Because I have my own TV now. I have my guitars in here. I have my lamp.
Hiding spot.
I have a plant. I have a fridge full of Red Bulls.
You need the plant in
I have a couple windows. It's all chill. Like I have a coffee machine.
Yeah.
I have a couple chips.
Rotating light bulb. Come on.
What else did I guys? So like I said, everything else is now kind of settling as far as my business. So now I'm kind of going back and like actually remembering what made this happen, because I think a lot of people do kind of currently just go through life, just work, because, you have to be responsible, especially if you get married, you have kids, then you have more responsibilities, because now you're not only just feeding yourself, you're feeding your family, and you're taking care of your kids. You're taking care not only of the state of the home, but you're understanding like, do I want my kid to have a better education? So what do I have to do? I have to work more. So I'm not there, and I'm not pushing for that right now. So I'm not in a rush. So right now I'm just kind of going back and now enjoying what I've created for myself and enjoying it, and basically just say, hey, what could I do to make myself happy again? Is do what I want to do whenever I want, I guess. And still being responsible too, because I'm not just sitting at home all day and just collecting checks.
For sure. Yeah, my happiest place is behind a kit. Once I'm behind a kit, like that's the happiest you'll see me. Yeah. No matter what. Yeah, and then the more that you do things that you want to do, you'll inspire other people to do the same thing. Like I've allowed myself to surround myself with good people. The person helping out and the one that didn't want to be in camera because she didn't go to sleep early is Sara, which she's behind the scenes right now. And if those that have seen my old podcast before, you might have seen a clip of her, just like smiling because I put a GoPro, and I do have a camera facing her, but she didn't want to be on camera today because you're recording.
We're recording. Okay, cool. It's recording live, so it's on my Facebook right now. So if you want to see Sarah, she's on my Facebook. Hopefully one day she will actually come on the podcast because I've been bugging her for the longest time. I don't know what's wrong with her.
I don't know what's wrong with her.
I don't know what's wrong with her, bro. She's either too shy or she just hates my podcast and she's like, I don't want to be involved in that.
So many people just don't like you.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
I don't want to be here. I was in town.
Yeah, but like I said, those are the things that I kind of want to always do for people. Like as far as like what I'm doing, it's either motivate them or inspire them, or if not, bring them into my environment and then kind of just show them like, hey, if I could do it, you could do it too. And if you don't want to do it, because, people's drive for motivation as far as like what they want to do, it's different. Mine's like very high leveled. It's almost like, it's like almost sick. It's a sick motivation. It's a sickness because I want to work every day, even when I'm not working. I have to make sure that I keep my phone away from myself or keep my watch away, because I am going to look at it and I'm going to create something on my phone. And I know it brings enjoyment, but you kind of have to understand that it is a form of work too, and just enjoy your surroundings.
Just to live your life.
Yeah, and then just go and socialize too, because that's one thing that I've had the hard time to do too, is socializing with
especially when you don't have friends.
Especially when you don't have friends.
Go out.
But yeah, like now it's different. Now I have a couple good people around me, not only just friends that I could talk to as far as like financial stuff, but people that I could just literally just talk about anything, which is the great thing about what has happened within my life. Because like I said, once the band left, I was like, bro, what happened? What happened? Oh, it's Thursday. I think I had practice today. Nope, not today.
Nope, they're doing their own thing.
They're doing their own thing,
I broke up the band. Yeah, I gotta go, I did that.
Just lay down, do something with my life. Come to conclusion. Thank you so much for coming through.
Yeah, thanks for asking me.
It was nice seeing you again, and it's nice seeing the fam. You know,
Yeah.
I don't get to see them every day, and so every time I get to
always extend the invite.
yeah, every time I see the fam, it's always good. You know, seeing your mom, seeing your dad, and of course Norms and her new baby. I didn't get to see him because he was sleeping.
Stop by today, man. He's been awake all day now.
And then your brother, you know, and then his girl Becky, and then Sam didn't come through yesterday. Hopefully he'll come through next time.
Come through, Sam.
And then Clarin, hope you're healthy. You know, hope you're vibing. You know,
I gotta get together again.
Yeah, one day we'll have
One
lunch.
day.
We'll have lunch. We'll bring it in here. You know, no one's gonna bug. Yeah. So if there's anything else that you want to say, go ahead and say it. And
Well, thanks for having me. No, this was fun though.
Do you want to put a shout out to your Instagram or
my Instagram?
Anything that you have going on?
What is my Instagram? Carlos H _ Insta, I think it is.
There you go, ladies. Hit him up.
There you go. Hit me up. It's
Hit
just
him
me, myself,
up. You
and
know,
I travel.
Give him that digital. Give him that. You know, DM him, emoji him. You know.
I don't know all the slang of that DM. Yes.
Yeah, that. Well, either way, just hit him up. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy. No, he's not. He's not a nice guy. He's a good guy. Okay, don't get that turned around. He's a good guy.
And yeah, check out Distance Guys on YouTube.
Yeah, no one listens to that.
Just some good videos.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully Sarah will be next.
Yes.
Sarah, this is where you stop recording. Peace.